This sci-fi action flick from 2004 is a sequel to the cult classic Pitch Black, but cranks the stakes to galactic levels. Vin Diesel returns as the ultimate lone wolf, Riddick, and yes, those glowing eyes are still cooler than ever. Let's dive in. The movie opens with Riddick in exile, hiding out on a snowy, remote planet. 5 years have passed since the events of Pitch Black, and Riddick's been lying low. But trouble always finds him. A group of bounty hunters, or mercs, tracks him down. They're here to collect the hefty price on his head, but of course, Riddick has other plans. In classic Riddick fashion, he outsmarts the mercs, leaving them alive just long enough to give him a crucial piece of intel. The bounty was placed by an old acquaintance, Imam, on the desert planet of Helion Prime. Riddick's not happy about being dragged back into the spotlight, but curiosity gets the better of him. So, he hijacks the merc's ship and sets course for Helion Prime. When Riddick arrives on Helion Prime, things quickly take a turn. He reunites with Imam, who explains the galaxy is facing an existential threat, the Necromongers. These guys are a fanatical, world-conquering army led by a mysterious figure called the Lord Marshal. They're not just conquering planets. They're converting or annihilating entire populations in their quest for something called the Underverse. And wouldn't you know it, the Necromongers choose this exact moment to invade Helion Prime. Chaos erupts as their massive fleet darkens the skies and their troops overwhelm the city. Despite his usual lone wolf attitude, Riddick gets caught in the crossfire and ends up reluctantly helping Imam and his family escape. But things get complicated. The Necromongers recognize Riddick isn't just any fugitive. He's a Furion, a member of a near-extinct warrior race that the Lord Marshal wiped out years ago. Why? Because there's a prophecy that a Furion would one day bring his downfall. So naturally, the Lord Marshal orders Riddick's capture. Let's pause for a second and talk about the Necromongers. These guys are as creepy as they come. They've got this whole cult-like vibe with their gothic armor and talk of converting souls. Their leader, the Lord Marshal, is a ruthless tyrant with the power to literally steal souls. His second-in-command, Commander Vaco, is ambitious and cunning, but his wife, oh, she's even more dangerous. Dame Vaco, played by Thandiwe Newton, is constantly scheming to push her husband closer to power. Basically, the Necromonger hierarchy is a snake pit of ambition and betrayal, and you just know Riddick's going to exploit that. Meanwhile, Riddick is captured and brought before the Lord Marshal, but instead of killing him outright, the Lord Marshal tries to convert him. That's the Necromonger way. Join us, or die. Riddick, being Riddick, has zero interest in joining a galactic death cult. But this confrontation reveals a key piece of his past. Riddick's Furion heritage makes him uniquely resistant to the Lord Marshal's soul-stealing power. It's a big moment. Not only is Riddick the ultimate outsider, but now he's also a threat to the Necromonger's reign. And you can bet he's going to use that to his advantage. But before we get to the big showdown, the story takes a detour to a prison planet called Crematoria. Why? Because Riddick gets sold out by, well, everyone. Turns out this maximum security prison isn't just any old hellhole. It's a volcanic wasteland where stepping outside means instant death from the scorching sun. Inside the prison, Riddick reunites with Kira, a young woman he once saved back in Pitch Black. Except now, she's older, tougher, and way angrier. She's been through hell and blames Riddick for abandoning her. Their dynamic is tense, but there's an underlying bond that keeps them fighting together. Cue the prison break. And because this is Riddick, it's not just any escape. It's an adrenaline-fueled sequence involving brutal fights, a chase across the volcanic surface, and some of the most daring stunts you'll see in sci-fi. By the time Riddick gets back to the Necromongers, he's done running. The final act sets up an epic clash of wills, power, and sheer determination. Without giving away the ending, let's just say the stakes have never been higher for Riddick or the galaxy. So whether you're here for the intense action, the gothic aesthetic, or just to see Vin Diesel being an absolute badass. Chronicles of Riddick doesn't disappoint. But what do you think? Did this sequel live up to the hype? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more movie breakdowns. See you in the next one.